أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ثم الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه الأخيار أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah, we are still on the المقدمة العزية في تصريف في علم التصريف, that is the تصريف العزي. Today we are looking at فصل في بناء اسمي الزمان والمكان. Yani we are going to look at اسم الزمان and اسم المكان today. The moment you hear اسم الزمان, you know we are talking about صرف, yani wasn't the meter that you put some letters on to get the name of a place. Likewise, اسم الزمان, the meter that you put some letters on to get the name of the time of the occurrence of a particular thing. Okay. So Sheikh says here that وهو من يفعل بكسر العين على مفعل مكسور العين كالمجلس والمبيت. says ومن يفعل ويفعل بفتح العين وضمها على مفعل بالفتح كالمذهب والمقتل والمشرب والمقام والمدبغ. Now, as we said, when we say اسم الزمان, اسم المكان, we are looking at, you have a verb, there is this meter, you put the verb on, and then now we get the word that refers to the place of the occurrence of this particular verb or this particular action. Ismu Zaman means the meter, when you put the letters of the verb on this particular meter, then you get the time of the occurrence of this particular action. So if I have an action like jalasa yajlisu, I have an action like nazala yanzilu, I have an action like daraba yadribu, zahaba yazhabu, sana'a yasna'u. I have these verbs. I want to point to the place where these actions occur. I want to point to the place where these verbs occur. Ismul makan, that will be ismul makan. If I want to point to the time when these things occur, then that will be ismul zaman. So ismul zaman wal makan, ismul zaman is a particular wazn that points to the place where that particular thing occurs. Ismul zaman is the word that points to the name of the time that this particular action occurs. Jamil. So Sheikh tells us here that how do you form these two words? They are on the same meter, so he put them together. He says, min yaf'ilu, if you have a verb that the fi'l mudari is maksur al-ayn. Min yaf'ilu bikasr al-ayn, that is the mudari of the verb. If the mudari of the verb is having kasra on the ayn al-fi'l, then the masdar will be ala maf'il, the ism al-makan, ism al-zaman will be ala maf'il maksur al-ayn. Then the ismul zaman, ismul makan, you put it on the meter maf'il. So you have your verb fa'ala. If the mudari is yaf'ilu, then the ismul zaman, ismul makan will be maf'il. If your mudari is yaf'ilu, the ismul zaman, ismul makan will be maf'il. Jamil. Now I keep mixing up with the masdar because in other books, you find them mixed together with the masdar because they are almost the same meter in almost all cases. The ism al-zaman, ism al-makan, and al-masdar al-mimi, they are almost the same thing. So in some books, they put them together. But with this beginner one, I think they kind of they give us just some pieces that we need for now. Jamil. And then he says, Kel majlis. For example, majlis. You look at majlis, where is it coming from? Jalasa, yajlisu. So the mudari, the ainul fail is kasra. Then when you want to form the ism zaman, the time that somebody sat or the time of sitting, that is the majlis. You want to form the place where people sit, it is majlis. And then it says wal mabit. Mabit is coming from bata, yabitu. Yabitu is actually yabitu. Yabyitu maksur al-ain. The yai is having a haraka, and what comes before it is sakin. You move the haraka of the yai to what comes before it. The yai becomes just a mad, so it becomes yabitu. So it is actually yabitu ala wazn yaf'ilu. So when you want to form the ismul zaman, ismul makan, it comes ala wazn maf'il. So it will be mabiyitu. Mabiyitu. Mabiyitu, yai is mutaharrik. Ma qablaha sakin. You do nakal of the haraka to the letter that comes before it. Then the yai becomes a mad. So it becomes mabit, easier. It is khafif al nutq than the mabiyitu. So it becomes mabit. So mabit is also ala wazn maf'ilu. Jamil. Likewise, you have other verbs like nazala, yanzilu. It is also maksur al-ayn fil mudari. And then you have the manzil. The place that you are spending the night or you are sleeping, that is the mabit. Basically where you spend your night. Or the time of spending the night. Jamil. ومن يفعل, if you have the فعل مضارع, the عين الفعل is مفتوح or the عين الفعل is مضموم. يفعل يفعل بفتح العين وضمها على مفعل. The اسم مكان اسم الزمان comes على وزن مفعل بالفتح. مفعل عفوا. If you have يفعل يفعل يعني مضموم العين في المضارع or مفتوح العين في المضارع, the اسم المكان اسم الزمان will come على وزن مفعل. مفعل. He gives us example. كالمذهب. So you have ذهب يذهب. In the مضارع the عين is فتحة. So يذهب becomes مذهب. قتل يقتل. مضموم العين the اسم المكان اسم الزمان will be مقتل على وزن مفعل. And then مشرب. شرب يشرب. مشرب. مشرب, it could mean the time of drinking or the point of drinking, the place of drinking. That is the mashrab, the place of drinking. And then والمقام. Maqam, we did is ta'lil in the beginning. We saw that maqam is coming from qama yakumu. Jamil. And qama is min aslin wawi because it is qama yakumu. Jamil. So you know that the alif in the middle is actually a waw. So it is maqwamu. Maqwamu ala wazn maf'alu. Maqwam. Then waw having a haraka like that, we move the haraka of the waw to ma qablaha. Then the waw we change it into mad. So we say maqam, makes it easier on pronunciation. Wal madbag. Madbag is tannery, place where we do tannery of leather and stuff like that. It's called madbag. Jamil. So all these verbs you find them ala wazn yaf'alu, yaf'ulu. So let's summarize this first part before we move. If you have your verb, the ainul fi'l is kasra in the mudari'. The ism zaman, ism al-makan will come maksur al-ain, maf'il. If you have the mudari' of the verb being maftuh al-ain or madmum al-ain, then the masdar, the ism al-makan, ism al-zaman will come ala wazn maf'al. That is the summary of it. And then he says, وَشَذَّ الْمَسْجِدُ وَالْمَشْرِقُ وَالْمَغْرِبُ وَالْمَطْلِعُ وَالْمَجْزِرُ وَالْمَرْفِقُ وَالْمَفْرِقُ وَالْمَسْكِنُ وَالْمَنْسِقُ وَالْمَسْقِطُ وَالْمَنْبِتُ. All these verbs, let's look at the mudara and look at the ism al-makan. Does it match with the qaida that we just took? That's why he's saying shadda. These ones are exceptions. There are few cases that they are not part of the law. Shadda bimana, it has gone off the qaida. Masjid is coming from what? Sajada, yes, judu, madmumul ain. So ismul makan, ismul zaman will be maf'ul. Maf'al, afwan, maf'al. So you should have heard masjid. You should have heard masjid. Alal qiyas. But in this case, we are not hearing masjid. What are we hearing? We are hearing masjid, even though the mudari is not maksur al-ain. That's why he's saying shadda. So the shuduz, they are mostly few. So they are enumerated. Let's look at sharaqa, yashruqu, sharaqa, yashruqu, Then he says mashriq. Even it's supposed to be mashraq, but it is mashriq that we all know. Mashriq, where the sun shines from. Say mashriq shams. Jamil. Says maghrib. Maghrib as well. Gharaba yagrubu. Gharaba yagrubu. Yagrubu tagrubu shams. مدموم العين في المضارع. But then when we come to اسم الزمان اسم المكان, instead of maghrib, then we say maghrib. Yani the sunset, that is the time of setting. Maghrib is also where the sun is setting, the place. But then we say maghrib instead of maghrib. Likewise, matli'u. طلع يطلع مدموم العين يطلع. So having matla, then it says matli'u. Al-matli'u. Jamil. Then majzir, you find the mudari coming jazara, yajzaru, yajzuru. But then you find the اسم المكان اسم الزمان coming majzir, even though it is not مكسور العين في المضارع. جميل. Majzir is where the slaughterhouse. Jamil, the place where you slaughter the animals and stuff like that. And then he says, that is abattoir, I think. Abattoir, that is the word. And then he says, well, marfiq. Marfiq is from rafaqa yarfuku, yarfuku, bidom al-ain, yarfuku. Should have marfaq, but then it is marfiq. That's well, mafriq. Mafriq is also faraqa yafruku, madmum al-ain, and then it comes mafriq. So it is also of the qaida. Likewise, maskinu. Maskin is a suit, a tenement, a place where you stay. Maskin. Maskin is also shaz, because we have sakana yaskunu, madmum al-ain, should have come maskan, we hear maskin. Wal mansik. Jamil, mansik. Mansik from nasaka, yansuku. Then instead of mansak, then we have mansik. Then maskit, al-maskit. That is from sakata yasqutu. Instead of masqat, we have maskit. Wal manbit, nabata yambutu. Nabata, to grow, to sprout. Nabata. Then we have yambutu. And then the ism al-makan or ism al-zaman becomes manbit instead of manbut. Jamil, which is supposed to be the place where somebody grows, the origin of somebody, or the time of growth. It refers to that. Likewise, mansik is the place of sacrifice. Mansik. And nusuk is quite popular to all of us. Says, but there is something that we should know as we are reading. If you are familiar with a lot of Arabic text, you know that something like maskin, we have maskan as well. Maskan is quite popular. We have it. So you look at them, then you realize that no, for that one we have a maskan. Even the matla, you realize that we hear matla ul qasida. We hear that a lot. Matla ul kaza, matla ul shams. So we hear that as well. And then also the masjid, there is a masjid as well. So he says at here, very important line, he says, وَحُكِيَ الْفَتْحُ فِي بَعْضِهَا. Some of them, it has been heard with fatha. And the sum he is talking about is the masjid. There is a masjid as well. And then the maskin, there is a maskan. Likewise, the matli, there is a matla. So in these three, that has gone off the qaida. Even the fatha has been heard. Jamil. So it is okay for this three. But the rest, he says, وَأُجِيزَ فِي كُلِّهَا. It is permitted in all of them, because that is the actual wazn. So some have said it is jawaz, yajuzu. So instead of masjid, yajuzu masjid. Mashriq, yajuzu mashraq. Maghrib, yajuzu maghrab. For all of them. But then for three of them, there is actually the fatha one. And it has been heard or seen from the Arabs. Jamil. And then we come to, says, هذا إذا كان الفعل صحيح الفاء واللام. This is when you have the fi'l being صحيح الفاء and then also صحيح اللام. So the fa'ul fi'l is صحيح, the lamul fi'l is صحيح. You treat it with this qawaid we just saw. It says, وَأَمَّا غَيْرُهُ. As for other than this, غَيْرُ ماذا? غَيْرُ صحيح الفاء واللام. If you have a verb that has is mu'tallul fa, a verb that is mu'tallul lam, then hear this awzan. There is a different wazn for it. فمن المعتل الفاء مكسور عينه أبدا كالموضع. So you have something like وضع. وضع is مثال معتل الفاء. وضع, the واو is حرف إلا, so it is فعل مثال. That is the معتل الفاء. When it is معتل الفاء, what is قاعدة saying? The اسم المكان and اسم الزمان becomes مكسور, أي مكسور العين أبدا. Always you keep the عين الفعل مكسور. Like وضع, the اسم المكان اسم الزمان becomes موضع. وعد, the واو is حرف إلا, of course, so the اسم المكان اسم الزمان becomes موعد. That is why we call appointment موعد. Even the place you are meeting is also called the موعد. والموسم, season. موسم, season means the time of the season, means the place of the season. موسم. والموجل, as well from وجل يجل موجل. وجل is, or وجل is to fear, to have fear. الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم, something like that in the Quran. جميل. So if you have the verb being معتل الفاء, معتل الفاء, then keep the اسم الزمان and اسم المكان على وزن مفعل. جميل. ومن المعتل اللام مفتوح أبدا. If it is rather معتل اللام, the اسم المكان اسم الزمان becomes مفتوح العين أبدا. Like you have our, Hamza fatha, waw fatha, and then lam, alif mad, our. The masdar will be, the ism al-makan, ism al-zaman will be ma'wa, ma'wa. Ala wazn maf'al. Then marma, from rama, marma. Marma bimana your goal, your target, where you are casting your sight to. Al-marma. Jamil. Then we have al-marwa. You have rawa, ra, waw, and then the alif rawa. And so the ism al-makan, ism al-zaman will come ala wazn marwa, ala wazn maf'al. Likewise al-makwa, qawa, and then you have al-makwa. Then mar'a, ra'a, mar'a, because all of these are mu'tallul lam. So there is something we should also do here as well. Now with this that we've learned, what does it tell us? If the mu'tallul fa is coming maksurun aynuhu abadan, that means that it goes to join the al-fi'l al-mudari al-maksur al-ayn, the yaf'ilu. So the fi'l, so when you are looking for ismul makan, ismul zaman, those that their meter come ala wazni maf'il, what are you going to do? You are keeping the fi'l mudari that comes ala wazni yaf'ilu. And then also al-fi'l al-mudari al-mu'tallul lam, or al-fi'l al-mu'tallul lam, mu'tallul fa. Al-fi'l al-mudari al-mu'tallul fa, and then also al-fi'l alladhi ya'ti ala wazn yaf'ilu. Jamil, you have these two having their ism al-makan, ism al-zaman being on the meter maf'il. What about the maf'al? Before we had madmum al-ain yaf'ulu, and then maftuh al-ain yaf'alu, and now we are adding that if it is mu'tallul lami, then it will be maftuhun abadan. So mu'tallul lam comes to add to this. So you are having a table, ism al-makan, ism al-zaman ala wazni maf'il. Under it is two things. You are having al-fi'l al-mudari al-mu'tallul fa', and then you are having al-fi'l al-mudari ala wazni yaf'ilu. You come to ism al-zaman, ism al-makan ala wazni maf'al. You are having three things. You have the fi'l mudari that comes ala wazn yaf'alu, fi'l mudari that comes ala wazn yaf'ulu, and then you have al-fi'l al-mu'tallul lam. So you have these three here. Jamil. And then he says وَقَدْ تَدْخُلُ عَلَى بَعْضِهَا تَاءُ التَّأْنِيثِ كَالْمَظِنَّةِ وَالْمَقْبَرَةِ. So you see al-mazinnatu, al-maqbaratu, al-mashraqatu. Now these ones they have ta marbuta and they show ism al-makan. The ta marbuta that is entering them, is it ala wazn or is it qiyas or something? No, these things are sima'i or sama'i. They are heard like that from the original Arabs. So it's not like that is what follows the meter. Sometimes the ism al-makan or ism al-zaman, they add some ta marbuta to it. Jamil. So you see mazinna. Mazinna is coming from zanna. Yazunnu. Yazunnu is what? Madmumul ayn fil mudari. And so what should the ism al-makan, ism al-zaman be? Mazanna. Mazanna. Ala wazni maf'al. But it comes mazinna and with a ta marbuta. And then he says, wal maqbara. Maqbara as well comes from it's also having a ta marbuta, and so it is also of the maqbara, of course, as we know it's grave. Wal mashraqa as well as we saw it before, it is also having dhamma in the mudari, but then the ta marbuta has been added here. It says washazza al mashruqa wal maqbura. The maqbara and the mashraqa, we have it coming ala wazni mashruqa with the ta marbuta still, and then maqbura with the ta marbuta. There is something also very important here that we should know, that some of the scholars, they've tried their best to find out for us that those that they give it madmumul ayn mashruqa, and then you see that here they say maqbura. What is the difference between maqbara and maqbura? What is the difference between mashraqa and mashruqa? Now, when you have the verb coming on the actual meter, you know, sharaqa, yashruqu, mashraqa, that is the qiyas. And then as well, you have maqbura, maqbara, also coming, if you are going to form the mudari, yaqburu, yani to bury. If you are also forming the mudari on the meter, the masdar is actually coming on, the ism al-makan, ism al-zaman is actually coming on maqbara. Those that follow the qiyas like this, what do they refer to? Bimana, anywhere you bury something is maqbara. If I take something and I hide it here, the place is maqbara. If I put something in the corner, the place is maqbara. Yani I hide it somewhere or I bury it somewhere. It is maqbara. Bimana yajri alayhi majra al-fi'l. The meaning of the fi'l, I've taken ism al-zaman and ism al-makan from it. So any place that has that action is called the particular ism al-makan, ism al-zaman. So I have something like maqbara being anywhere that something is buried. Mashraqa being anywhere that the sun, anywhere that something shines from, anywhere that any light shines from is mashraqa. But the one that doesn't go with the wazn, maqbura, mashraqa, it means that this is a specific place for that thing. And it's not like just any place at all. So in my house, if I come to bury something there, that place I've buried something is maqbara. But my house is not a maqbura. Maqbura now becomes specifically graveyard. Even if they don't bury anybody there, they cover the place and they say this place is for burying people because it's specifically for that. هذا المكان متخذ لذلك. Then you call the place maqbura. The specific place where the sun is shining from is mashruqa. So that in that case, لا يجري عليه أو لا يجري فيه مجرى الفعل. بمعنى it's not anywhere that something is shining from that you say mashruqa. No, mashruqa becomes specific place where the sun is shining from. Then we say this is the mashruqa. So when it comes bidammil ayn like that, it is specific. It's a specific name for a specific place. I'm sure the example of the maqbara shows very clearly. Yani if I dig here right now and bury something here, this place I've buried something is maqbara, but not maqbara. So that is the ijtihad some of the scholars, their understanding I've got into. Jamil, and I think it is a sound judgment. Jamil. Now, And then he comes to ومما زاد على الثلاثة كاسم المفعول كالمدخل والمقام. Also, you have those that are more than three lettered. The اسم المكان, the فعل that is more than three letter word. How do you treat it? You bring the اسم الزمان and اسم المكان just as the wazn of the مفعول. So if you are using the copy that I shared with you, the تصريف العزي I shared with you, it says ومما زاد على الثلاثة أي والفعل الذي زاد على الثلاثة. اسم المكان اسم الزمان will come على وزن المفعول. جميل. It will come على وزن اسم المفعول. So you have a verb like أدخل. أدخل, what is the اسم المفعول? اسم المفعول, of course, it comes from the الفعل المضارع. If you like الفعل المضارع المبني للمجهول, that is where you are getting your اسم المفعول from. So you have أدخل, you have يدخل, يدخل, that is the majhul. The ma'lum is yudkhilu. You use the ma'lum to form the fa'il. So if you have a verb that is more than three lettered words, for and on, if you want to form the ismul fa'il, you form the ismul fa'il for the mudari al-mabni al-ma'lum, then you take out the harf al-mudari and bring mim. So if I have adkhala, yudkhilu, I take out the yai and then I'll bring mim, mudkhil, that will be the ismul fa'il for adkhala. If I want the ismul maf'ul, I form the al-mabni al-majhul for the adkhala. So adkhala, yudkhalu, then I'll take out the yai and bring mim, then I'll get mudkhalu. Jamil. So the mudkhal becomes the ismul makan, ismul zaman for the verb adkhala. Akhraja, yukhriju. Mukhrij becomes the ismul fa'il. I want the ismul maf'ul. Yukhraju. I'll take out the yai and bring mim. Mukhraju. Mukhrajun becomes the ismul makan and ismul zaman for the verb akhraja. So if you have a verb more than three lettered words, that is how you get the ismul makan, ismul zaman. It comes just as the same meter as the ismul maf'ul. So he says, kal mudkhal. Mudkhal is coming from adkhala. Pay attention very well here. You have ismul zaman, ismul makan, madkhal, but it is coming from what? Dakhala, yadkhulu, madkhal. But adkhala, yudkhilu, mudkhal, mudkhal. Know that this is ismul zaman, ismul makan coming from four-lettered verb. Jamil. So kharaja, the ismul makan for kharaja is what? Ismul zaman, ismul makan will be what? Kharaja, yakhruju, madmumul ayn. So it will be maf'al. So makhraj, makhrajun becomes the ismul zaman, ismul makan for kharaja. But akhraja, akhraja, yukhraju, mukhraj. Mukhraj becomes the ismul zaman, ismul makan for the rubai. So he says kal mudkhal wal muqam. Muqam, of course, is muqwamun. Muqwamun. And then the haraka of the waw move to the qaf because it's sakin. We move it to the qaf, then we get muqa, and then waw. We change the waw into alif and get muqam. So al-muqam is the ismul makan or ismul zaman for aqama. Aqama. But maqam bifath al-mim is the ismul zaman, ismul makan for qama, the three-lettered word qama. So the ismul makan, ismul zaman for qama is different from that of aqama. I'm sure this is very clear now. It says وَإِذَا كَسُرَ الشَّيْءُ بِالْمَكَانِ. If something is a lot in a place and you want to describe it, so you want to mention the place but describe the fact that there are a lot of things in this particular place, what do you say? You say قِيلَ فِيهِ مَفْعَلَةٌ. The meter comes on the wasn't maf'alatun. So this is not coming from a verb, it is coming from something. So there is a lot of books here. What is book? Kitab. Then I say maktabatun. Maktabatun. Okay, there is a lot of books and I was in maf'ala. That means مكان الذي كثرت فيه الكتب. Okay, جميل. That is how it works here. So مفعلة من الثلاثي المجرد. If you have a three-lettered verb or three-lettered verb مجرد, جميل, كتب. That is where we are getting our kitab from. What do you do? Say مكتبة. فيقال أرض مسبعة. مسبعة. What is it coming from? سباع. And you know سباع is a wild animals. Wild animals. سباع is basically how do we even call them? Animals that hunt. الحيوان المفترس. Animal that hunts another. The English word is missing in my head. الحيوان المفترس, what do you say? Is it a hunting animal? Okay. So if there are a lot of siba, Jamil, in a particular place, then you say masba'a, masba'atun. And then ma'asadatun, إذا كثر في المكان أسد or usud. If you have a lot of lions in this particular place, then you call the place ma'asadatun. Jamil. And then madh'abatun. If there is a lot of dhi'ib or dhi'ab, wolves in a particular place, then you call the place madh'abatun. Likewise, mabtokhatun, mabtokhatun, coming from bitir. Bitir, as we know it, is the watermelon. Yeah, bitir. That is watermelon. So if there is a lot of bitir in a particular place, then you call the place mabtakhatun, jamil. And then wa maqtha'atun, maqtha'atun is a place where you have a lot of kitha. In the Quran, we have this word kitha, the kakumba, where they said they should pray unto his Lord to bring them down. مما تنبت الأرض من بقلها وقثائها. Jamil. So the kitha, that is where we say maqtha'a, a land that has a lot of that, we call it maqtha'atun. Jamil. I'm sure this is quite clear to some extent. Of course, if anything is unclear, all that we need to do is to do well and ask. I think this brings us to the end of the Ismul Makan and Ismul Zaman. Jamil. I wanted to run us through the remaining, but then it will be too much. We will take the Ismul Ala and the Bina'ul Marra and the Bina'ul Hay'at together in our last lesson, and that would be all, inshallah. Or basically, we can just take all of them, inshallah, in our next lesson, and we would end with the book. May Allah enable us. Till we meet again, have a very good Arabic time. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask the questions. Thank you very much. And don't forget to subscribe if you've not done so, and share for others to also benefit. Leave us a like if the lessons are being beneficial for you. Thank you very much. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.